somewhere, at least I've got it in the right pocket, I've written a list. Look at the state of that. I mean, I was looking at, is it Jessie over at Plot 37 earlier, and she's got a list beautifully written on a chalkboard on the inside of her shed door. It's gorgeous. I've scrapped a little bit of paper from next to the computer and scribbled a few things down, but yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. I love this time of year, but it's just knowing where to start. So I know today I want to get my peas in. I'm going to direct sow some alderman peas, and just behind you there's a new structure which I'm dead excited about. I'll show you that in a minute. I spent quite some time the other afternoon in the greenhouse in this heat like a fool, potting up the tomatoes and the chilies, so I'll show you them. They've really taken off now. When I say really taken off, they're not as big as yours probably, but you know, they've done quite well. And I've got something else in there I want to show you. But first of all, just look at this asparagus. Now, I mean, I showed you this last week and I was saying just how chunky it was and how, you know, magnificent in a way, but I don't know, it's had a really thick layer of manure. So I just thought it was because it just had a really big boost, but actually it's growing really curvy. And when I've looked it up, it says that can be that it's had insect damage on one side, and to be honest, it does look like the slugs have had a go. I need to get Mike's copper scourers to have a look at last week's video. It's working really well. Yeah, it does look like they've been nibbled at the base, but so far there is no sign of the asparagus beetle, which is what we normally have. So basically, yeah, have you got wibbly wobbly asparagus? Let me know in the comments below. I mean, it's still edible, it's still very nice. But yeah, first things first, I can hear the chickens calling, so I'll get them in their little run and I'll take you for a look in the greenhouse. Ladies. Come on, ladies. There we go. Well, I think you can see that I've gone a bit overboard with the tomatoes. You never think you're going to have enough to eat, you just never think you are. But yeah, it turns out there's 58 tomato plants, and of those there are 15 different varieties, none of which I really intended to sow, but you know what it's like, people give you them. This is without the ones that Mike has sown up in the polytunnel. I'll be honest with you, I'm not going in the polytunnel today. That'll come up in the next week or two. I'll do a tour and include the poly, because Mike is just an amazing in there. He's got so much stuff going on. But yeah, he's been digging up tomatoes out of the polytunnel that self-seeded last year and just putting them in pots, and they're huge. They're doing really well. He doesn't know what they are, but it doesn't matter. So we're tomato rich, I'll put it this way. But yeah, there's some of them are still, you know, Rue's little midnight snack. Rue absolutely swears by this tomato. I'll put a link to Rue's channel below, and she really kindly sent me a packet of midnight snack seeds. So they're still quite small, but they're coming. And then you've got things like, look, the pink ball, which again is a big tomato. And yeah, don't worry if your tomatoes are only this size or smaller at this time of year. That has, again, it's doubled in the last week. So they're really taking off now. Sorry, I've just been eating asparagus. And the peppers, at last, I know, if you watch any of the other pepper grows on YouTube, theirs are like trees now, but yeah, for me, that's quite good. So yeah, spent quite a long time in here, getting ridiculously too hot, and now can't really move for tomatoes and peppers. I've got a few flowers going on, some large marigold, tall snapdragon. They're from Robin and Ali. I'll put links to them down below as well. I've got my verbena, my Rebecca and the Monarda that I got from Farmer Grace and potted up. Was it last time or the time before? They're all coming quite nicely. Okay, so yeah, looking quite good, but there's something else I want to do in here that I will come back to, but I'll give you a little sneak preview. It's to do with this. Any guesses? Look at this though. Something is eating these red currants. Oh, hold on. Hold on. I think I might see what that something is. Can you see? There we go. There's always one, isn't there? And we can't wrap the whole of this tree up in copper wire, but they're little so-and-so. Honestly, this was dripping with currants last time I looked in, and now it's just like empty stems. So yeah, let's give him to the frogs. Well, I had to share this with you. We've just come across our first little character in the pond, actually basking on the little plank that Mike laughed at me for putting in. And there's another one in there as well, it's just gone below the brick. But what an absolute treat that is. Okay, so I've decided on the new frame that we've put up. I want to grow some alderman peas because they grow really, really tall, and they are without doubt not just the best peas I've ever grown, but the most successful. They grew absolutely beautifully, and I don't know if I passed some on to Rue, but I know Rue has passed some back on to me, but I know I've also got a packet in my little pea and bean tin here, so let's just have a quick look. Of course, you can never see them when you want them, can you? Train driver's mantra. Oh! Nasturtiums. I wonder if I've got none left. Empty packet. Come on, Jane. Sort your packets out. Bush beans. Loads of bush beans. I've got sweet pea. Here we are. Right, okay. Pea, alderman. So I'm not going to get them all in today, obviously, although... So I'll put some in today, and then I'll put some again in a couple of weeks, so we've got a bit of a staggered harvest. But I have got some off Rue as well, so I'll find yours as well, Rue, and we will put them in direct round the new frame and see how we get on. I'm actually really pleased with this netting. It's jute netting, you've probably seen it before. I know our neighbours had it last year, and I thought, oh, that's quite nice because it's biodegradable, but on the other hand, it means it won't last probably for more than 1 year. But I just think it looks a bit nicer, and it's a heck of a lot easier to put up than that wretched plastic pea netting that just seems to have a mind of its own. So I've got that up, I've put it on a slight angle so that the peas will fall that way, making it easier for them to be picked or be harvested. The sun will come onto the back, so the plant's going to get plenty of sun, but in the foreground here I'm going to have more shade loving vegetables, so it'll create a little space for lettuce and that sort of thing. However, this bed was topped with some really nice well rotted manure over the winter, and with us having the dry weather, it's capped. And when I say capped, I'll show you what I mean. Okay, when I say capped, what I mean is, if you look underneath there, that's really nice, well-rotted manure breaking down. In fact, I think that may be a slug. Don't want you, Mr. Slug, but you know, it shows things are living in it. And on the top there, it's just rock solid. So what I'm going to have to do is rake all this to one side and create a little channel to put the peas in, but it won't take long. And all in all, it's just worth putting this on to break down. Okay, I've created a nice little channel there, about 2 inches deep. And although it's quite damp underneath, I'm still going to put some water in there so the peas know which way to go. There we go. Right, let's get planting. All I'm going to do, I haven't got a measure, I haven't got a string. I'm just going to try and open the packet. That's always good. And then, ideally, you would have your peas 2 inches apart in 2 rows, like a double row. But all I'm going to do is just pop them in, because undoubtedly some of them will get snaffled by mice, birds, slugs, whatever. Oh, there's some growing there. I'll move them out. Another one in there. That'll be interesting. See what he does. Yeah, so I'm just going to sort of basically just throw them in the ditch, and we'll see what happens. Like I say, I've watered the ditch before. They've got, I know it's really nice rich soil down there, and I'm going to be re-sowing another line in front of these in a couple of weeks' time, because we've got plenty of time. They take about a week, 2 weeks to start showing the little heads, so I'm not too bothered about protecting them from the birds just yet. But when we get a little bit nearer that time, I'll get some sort of net or something over them. But yeah, just got to cover them up, and that's it. Peas done. Right, do you remember me showing you this in the greenhouse and asking you if you knew what it was? What do you reckon? It's inspired by, I've been wanting to grow it for years, but this last January, Audrey from Real Food Comes Dirty decided that she was going to do a grow along for this particular thing. So I thought I'd give it a go, and yeah, it's ginger. And what fascinates me is, I sort of think, well, ginger isn't the sort of thing you think you'd be able to grow, you know, especially in this country, but I suppose as long as it's warm and damp, which we are getting more that way, it should be okay. So I'm going to pot it up. It's been sitting in there for a couple of months, bless it. And all I did buy a rhizome from the supermarket. That didn't do anything, because as you know, or you probably know, anything that you buy from the supermarket and you try and grow has likely been sprayed with something to stop it shooting, to make it last longer. So if you do try something, so onions are usually okay, although our shallots weren't, but if you do try something, give them a good scrub first, so it'll wash anything that's retardant that's been sprayed on it. Oh, a little bit of blossom. I'm just going to use some very standard compost. I've got a little audience behind me, can you see them? They're all clucking very, very gently. But yeah, I just thought it'd be time to pot it up. And I've never seen what's below the tray, so I'm quite excited. They're very, very delicate stems. I've already knocked a great big one off. So, okay, so not as much of a root, whoa, a root thing as I thought. Oh, actually, you know what? Can you see that? It's funny, it's just got this one root going all the way round. But actually, what I'm going to do then, this is what I saw Audrey do, and I thought, no, surely you can't do that, but I'm going to do it, is just break it. And there you've got 2 plants. So I've got a clean bit of rhizome in that one, and I've actually got another bit coming in that one. But because it only grows quite shallow, the idea is you just put it in a shallow pot. You can put it in a deep pot, I'm sure that's nothing wrong with that at all. But I just thought this won't be its final place, or maybe it will. I don't know, you never know, do you? I always mean to do things and then just forget. But yeah, I'll pop that up, give it a good water, and hopefully, I'm just amazed it's still alive. So hopefully we might have our own ginger this year. But before I go, I've got something very important that I need to share with you. And it involves picking up another chicken and giving it a hat. So yeah, bear with me and I'll be right back to you. If you remember last week, Junior here drew a name out of the hat, didn't you? Yes, very clever chicken, for tickets to go and see the Gardeners Wildlife exhibition in Birmingham in June. And what happened was the person who won got in touch with me and was very excited, but the only difficulty was that she lived in Indonesia. So I did have to say, I'm terribly sorry, you're probably a bit far away. You know, we could have sent her the tickets, but it's quite a long way to travel for a nice afternoon. And so I've asked Junior here if she will very kindly do the honours and pick another name out the hat. So we've got all the other names that were left in the hat here. And hopefully, no, that's a petal. Look, you can see all the names there, Junior. Which one are you going to have? She's going to have the petal, the dead petal. Should we go and see what you want? Did you pick one up? Are you going to pick one up? Should I put them in my hand and see which one you pick up? There we are. Oh, do it again. That one, that one, this one. That was your first one. Right, Junior, let's see who it is this time, and let's hope they live a little bit nearer than Indonesia. It's Amelia Bealey. Well done, Amelia. I hope you're still watching. Get in touch either in the comments below or send me an email and we'll get those tickets to you, you know, as long as you can still go. If you can't go, still get in touch and we'll try and draw it again next week, but hopefully you'll be okay. This weekend I'll be off to Malvern, so hopefully I'll see some of you there, but this video will probably be going out just as I'm in an hour-long queue for an artisan sandwich. But yeah, if you've enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up, give us a subscribe, give us a comment in the comments box below, and we'll see you again next week. Bye for now.